A question for both of you, really, as a manager and as a scout, as head of recruitment. How do you look at the situation at Newcastle United? How much of a unique position that is, and being in that January transfer window and having the options they have? How do you both see that situation?
I think from a manager's point of view, Joe touched upon it. It's crazy. And Eddie Howe will be finding it doubly crazy because he's got on one hand the team every day that he must train and work towards the next game. He's got injuries to deal with. He's got Callum Wilson out for we don't know how long. And so they're definitely looking for how it changes from one day to the next. That, Callum Wilson, he'll score us the goals. He's gone. Now everybody is searching for someone to replace him. You've still got games. You've got an FA Cup tie which you lose against Cambridge. You're very fortunate you've signed Trippier before that game. And then you're trying to sign players after that game, when all of a sudden, it doesn't look so appealing going to Newcastle. And no matter what the money is, and you have to pay a premium, we know that managing, and Joe was at Middlesbrough also, that it's difficult to recruit in this part of the country. You have to pay a premium. So it's very hard. Will they get the right players? Very difficult. Will they have to do much homework? It will be reactive rather than proactive, and that can be very dangerous, as Joe quite rightly says. Is that signing like Trippier is for the medium to long term? Great professional. How many of them are you going to get? You're going to have to take a lot of risk, and with risk. There can be failures, and a manager's job is about results, and it's about the quality of the signings that they make. Very tough and difficult. I don't know, Joe, you will experience what it would be like in the recruitment department now. How much pressure you're under, not just from the manager but also from the owners, and the owners who have just come in.
Yeah, it's a great thing, and also a real challenge. But like we say, it's not just you can't just take the situation of the money on its own. It's a situation where you are in the table as well, and what the manager wants to do. Who does he think's with him? Who do you think can get him out of this at the moment? And how can we add to that? And they. I know the guys up there, Steve Nixon and Nicky Hammond's just gone in there to add his experience. They already know the team really well. They know what's going on. They would have already had a lot of targets in place, and they kind of knew something like this would have happened. But when it does then happen, and the agents are bombarding you on the phone with every player that they've got and what they're demanding. It's going to be, sometimes it's actually harder when you've got to call that luxury of choice, and you start to think, making decisions based on how good that player is reputation wise, or how much he fits the team, and the situation that we've got at the moment. So yeah, I'm not giving away any secrets where the new players are hitting the ground running, and that's not easy in the January window, because often the time you might be taking players that haven't been playing at other clubs, or have been underused in maybe bad form, or else you go in the other way and signing players that are great to come to you, and like you say, having to pay over the odds for that, and the risk of doom and gloom, but the relegation is at the back of your mind for the cost of going down. So yeah, really, really tough one there, and I think they could easily. The mad thing is, in a month's time, 2 months' time, they can be sitting there and maybe 5 or 6 points outside of it, and sitting there going, let's get excited about next season, and that's how quickly it could change with this.
I look at it obviously purely from a psychological point of view, and I think it's really interesting. I imagine the position that Eddie Howe's in, having to manage the team dynamic that they have. You have that starting 11, you have that squad, and I imagine the players' uncertainty now is something that affects the team because you don't know what's going to happen in terms of players coming in. There's a great amount of opportunities for the number of players coming in. If you're a player in that team at the moment, you're not aware of how much you're going to be contributing towards the future in Newcastle United. And so I imagine for Eddie Howe, specifically as a manager, it's really difficult to manage that narrative. Say it's great for a team to have that narrative of, right, we're all together and we're going to get out at the bottom of the league, we're going to get out the bottom three. But then to do that with the money that's coming in, with different players coming in, it changes that entirely. And money doesn't speed up time, does it? And I think the money they have over their heads now is more so pressure because it means they have to deliver quicker. But to build the right dynamic, to build the right cohesion, to build the right squad is going to take time. And that's why it's a risky job to have. It's a risky for, say, Trippier to go in as well. It's a really strange situation. That's why it's interesting to talk about it, because there's such a great positive there, and there's also such a great, looming threat almost as well, which is just fascinating to me.